overloaded with videos. So it might be last time I recorded a video, it was over a day before we had access to it.
Wow.
I did an hour plus program last night, and it took about an hour to.
That's not bad.
I don't think we're in a rush. What day is it anyway?
Real quick.
Well, yeah,
Tuesday.
Hey, Paul, nice to hear from you.
If that has meaning, I don't know.
You look cool, Sally. I love it. Yeah, recording locally.
I'm sitting at navigation right now.
Yeah, in the 90s too. Looks like we've got about 39 people so far. We'll give a few more minutes.
Good turnout.
Yeah, we had 130 RSVPs, I think, but typically we only expect about 50 to 60% to actually attend.
Yeah, a friend of mine said he was going to come in because he wanted to see what a Zoom meeting that was that big was really like.
I have no idea. We're going to find out.
I was on one with 100.
Wow.
How'd it go?
Well, what happened was that, and this was with the 25 display. What happened was there was a little arrow over to the right-hand side, and you could go see, you could only see 25 at once and go back and forth. A lot of the people on that one chose not to have their video on. So it went fine.
I'll probably stop my video once I start presenting just to save a little bandwidth.
Mm-hmm.
It's always weird, like when you're presenting your screen, you stop thinking about, like, you lean in and you like squint and you never think about what you actually look like. I mean, I do. I don't know. I probably should be wearing glasses, but I'm always like, what do you see there? And it's like, oh, I forget I'm presenting and people can actually see me.
Totally.
You're like that SNL sketch from
Totally.
last week.
This is Rob here. Can anyone hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
I can hear you, Rob.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
Somebody has the TV on in the background. Can you mute that, please? Or
That might
yourself?
be me.
Yeah, that was you, Rob.
It's nice to see all your smiling faces now. I don't have my camera up, but how'd you do that cool background, Sally?
It's a setting in Zoom. If you hover over video, there's a little up arrow, and it'll give you a chance to choose a background. And I uploaded that picture. It comes with 3 or 4 of them.
Really cool. Thanks.
I've seen that picture one other place in the last week. That must be a standard desktop for Star Trek: The Next Generation fans.
It's a nerd thing.
Well, I'm trying to remember who it was that had it up. Oh, God, it was a cybersecurity conference.
How's everybody doing sharing bandwidth with everybody else in their house?
So far, so good. We have to schedule sometimes, though.
Yeah, I try to stay off my wife's teaching class. Other than that, pretty open.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Tremi. We can hear you.
Yeah, hello.
Okay, should we get started? That's 54 people. I'm going to ask you, if you're not speaking, to please mute yourself so we can all hear Sally. We usually welcome to WordPress Naperville meetup. Thanks for coming. Normally we would have had 20 minutes of hanging out and chatting, but with this many people, it's going to be a little cumbersome. And we also want to be careful that we're not shouting over Sally as she presents. So if you have a question, please use the chat feature, which should be at the, it'll appear in a panel to your right if you click on the chat balloon at the bottom of your main video screen. We are going to, like I said, ask people to stay muted until, and then we'll unmute you or signal to you that you should be unmuted when we have questions, and we break into questions at different points throughout the presentation. We are recording this. We will post the video and the slides that Sally is presenting with on the Meetup event page when they're available. What else? This is a talk that Sally submitted to WordCamp Chicago, which would unfortunately have taken place in a couple weeks, but of course hasn't. So I'm excited to hear what she has to say. And Sally, I think we're ready to turn this over to you.
Okay, let's see if I can share my screen here. Make sure I share the right screen.
Just real quick, as she's getting set up, just wanted to thank SiteGround, who is donating the Zoom account for us so that we could do bigger groups with more people in it. So cheers to them.
And thanks, Mike, for arranging it with SiteGround.
No problem.
Yes, that is very cool. Okay, I'm gonna stop my video now so I don't run out of bandwidth in the middle. So welcome to how to build and promote your website with almost no budget. I'm Sally Gradle. I'm a front-end web developer. I work primarily in WordPress. I've been working as a freelancer for about 5 years, often with small or tiny businesses or nonprofits, and big ones too. But you know, it's a mix. A lot of people need a website, so that's why we're all here. This is going to be a very high-level look at many aspects of a project like this. And I'll share some of my favorite tools or ones that I know others have used successfully. Each of the subtopics here could be lightning talks or full presentations themselves. So it won't be a deep dive necessarily. So let's get started. So, as with most things, it's important to know where you're going so you can figure out how to get here. So you got to define the what's and the who's of the project. One category we're thinking about with having a small or almost no budget is nonprofits. They're faith-based, so churches, houses of worship, any of those. Community groups like an arts council or some kind of business group or something like that. Or an interest group like a running club or collectors of a particular thing or people who are car enthusiasts or anything like that. So you get the idea. Generally, these sites are informational. They may have a membership component and they'll likely have connections to social media. They may need to collect online donations. They may have an e-commerce component and may use some kind of email marketing. Here are some things to consider, especially for the nonprofits. It's often a mix of staff and volunteers or all volunteer. It's really important to define who the stakeholders and the ultimate authorities are in the group and begin to identify members who are resources for information, for content, for assets like graphics or photos. These are the places where you can really leverage the members of your group and save some budget for some other things that they can't do. You need to define who's going to be responsible for the ongoing maintenance and updates. You know, a lot of people, especially that don't work in building websites, think you just spin it up and let it go. And as we all know, no, you don't. You have to like any other system, you have to maintain it. And does everybody involved have sufficient knowledge, or are you going to need to do some training? You don't have to solve these things right away. They're just things you need to keep in mind as you get going on your project. So maybe this is for a small business or a side hustle. Maybe it's your own small business or side hustle. Maybe it's someone else's, someone that you care about, something you really want to do this for, that you want to try and save them some money. Here are some things to consider in this case. How much time do you or the site owner have to do this? And how much knowledge and ability do you or the owner have to do this? Are you going to need to fill some holes? The small business will need e-commerce, may have a blog or news posts, will probably have links to social media, and will use email marketing. So as you're thinking about these things and what solutions you're going to do yourself and which ones you're going to be willing to pay for, just think about how much time and knowledge you have to devote to it. So where do we start? Content is first, always. Content drives design. Deciding what content you have is going to make all the other decisions appear. No one wants to start here. It's boring, but this is where you have to start. So there are types of pages in a website. The first one I want you to think about, I know this seems backwards, but the About page. The About Us page is a really important page, and you don't have to get it completely built first, but you need to start thinking about it first. It's important for SEO and for your visitors. This is where you tell the story, and the story is what sells. So take some time and put in some keywords in a natural narrative way. Don't jam them in because it's hard to read and people are going to automatically know what you're trying to do. And they won't enjoy it. They won't reach out and feel like they've made a connection with you. Next is the actual content pages of the site. So what are you going to say? What's important to your audience? And most importantly, what content are you adding to the internet that is good, rich, useful content? That is what will boost your SEO. I am not an SEO expert at all, but there are certain things we can do within the site as we build it that will help that along. And one of those is making sure that your content is good content and adds something to the internet. That's what all the search spiders are looking for. A blog, as you might suppose, this is where you share the thoughts of the organization, the innovation, etc. The critical thing with the blog is that no matter what your posting schedule is, be consistent. If it's once a week or once every 3 months, doesn't matter. Produce regularly good, useful, rich content. You might have a news page. Generally, it might be industry news or company news. The nature of the news cycle is sometimes very busy and other times very slow. So try to keep this as consistent as possible. Some other shops, depending on what kind of site you have, might be a shop page, it might be a member page, a photo gallery, or etc. It's just really going to depend on the type of the site and the audience. And finally, the front page, and that's what everybody wants to work on because it's the most fun. It's the face of your brand. It's everything. So that's what you think about. And the reason you think about that last is that's kind of the gateway to everything else. So as you think about that front page, you're going to think about how you want to move visitors through your site. So you have to know where they're going again before you can decide how to get there. Okay, I'm going to stop here and kind of look at see if we've got some questions.
Nope, mostly about if the slides will be posted. So keep going.
Okay, cool. Cool. Yes, they will be posted. So don't worry. Okay. So what do you want the site to do? Everyone wants to do everything right away. You want to build Amazon right away. But some things we've mentioned may need to be delayed until phase 2 of your project. In the planning, you and whoever else you're working with will need to make some decisions about that and what you want to do now, what can wait, what will be worth paying for, and what you or someone on the team will need to do for now. So again, that's why you start with content. So first functionality, payment gateway. Whether you are selling something or collecting donations, you have to have a way to process that payment. There's PayPal. It's been around the longest. It's widely used, but it is in WordPress, it is complicated to implement on the back end. However, if you're working with some kind of nonprofit organization and they are already set up with PayPal, don't switch it. That's far more work for them than you need to do to build a website. Just, know that you're going to spend a couple of hours getting this set up with PayPal. At least I always do, because I find it hard. Another really popular one is Stripe, which is also widely used. It's very easy to implement on the back end, and more plugins are including it as a payment gateway. For a while, most of them included the API for PayPal, and then for Stripe, you either had to download another extension or even another paid extension. But now I'm seeing more and more are including both of these in their APIs. Another is Square. I see Square used more often in face-to-face transactions, either at a merchant or at some place like a farmer's market or a craft show or something like that. It's newer. Fewer plugins have the API connections to them, and usually it's a paid extension right now. Online giving, especially if this is a nonprofit, or if the business you're starting has some kind of donation collection component, you'll need a way to do online giving. The easiest way is a donate button through the payment gateway. They all have them. It's a little bit of code you implement. It's pretty simple, and people are familiar with it. They've seen them used. The other, which is my favorite, is GiveWP. It's a freemium plugin, so it's got a free version, and then there are some components that you need to pay for. They're coming up with new innovations all the time. It's customizable for your pages, so you can make your giving page look the same as the rest of your site. There are different types of donations available. You can do recurring donations. It allows for you to do the fee recovery. So some of you may have seen that when you're making a donation, they'll say, hey, do you want to add an extra $2.15 to cover our fees for the credit card processing? So you can recover that too. It's also got a lot of reporting functions if that's important to the group you're building the site for. They need to track donations and do all of those reports that you'd want to do for finances. The other functionality is online sales. Now this is WordPress, so of course we're gonna say WooCommerce. These might be physical products. We might do WooCommerce that will be selling through WooCommerce. There are many free and paid options to extend WooCommerce. This is where one of those times that you're going to need to spend a little bit of time doing some research, looking through what's available through WooCommerce, which things might be a plugin that's available in the WordPress repository, and which functionalities you may say, okay, yeah, I'd really like to have that wish list right now, but we just can't do it. We'll have to do that in the next iteration. And also, it is open source, just like the rest of WordPress, so you are free to write your own extensions and plugins and things like that. It is open to develop as you wish. For the next kind of online sales is downloadable products, such as downloadable ebooks, downloadable music, downloadable photographs, that kind of thing. So if you're selling or providing to members downloadable information, music, videos, etc., WooCommerce or Easy Digital Downloads are both freemium plugins. So there's free and there's paid components, and they're just the way to go. They're both just the best around. Each of them can become a little expensive in the premium extensions. So this is really one of those points where you and your team will need to assess your needs and expectations. If your primary goal is to sell things, personally, I would say invest in as many of the tools as you need to get it going. But you know what? Each situation is different. You're just really going to have to look at it. The other type of online sale you might have in a website like this is a membership, some kind of membership site. I know of one business that is getting off the ground where the business is selling the memberships, and then the members get together and do certain activities and things like that, and have a community and things like that. So that might be one way you would do it. There are a couple of plugins that are really good for membership management. One is Ultimate Member, which has options for both free and paid extensions. And the other is Paid Memberships Pro, which has also free and paid extensions. Both include the ability to restrict access to certain content to logged in members, as well as lots of other features. So which one you choose would just depend on which functionalities you need. All right, text and graphics. Now we're getting to the fun things. So some SEO strategies. Page content. Page content and blog and news post content are what gets your site to rank. Don't forget the internet is deaf and blind. It can only read your text. So you can have all the fabulous pictures you can think of, but if there's no text to go along with them, you're going to have trouble ranking. This is a very, very large subject, and I am not a specialist, but there are lots of sources of information for SEO best practices. Yoast.com is a good one. SEMrush.com is a good one. Mangools is a good one. Google Keyword Research, and we'll look at all those here in just a minute. It's very important to decide who will be doing the writing, and is that person or persons will be following the guidelines and best practices. This is one of those things your committee will be deciding whether to pay for or to DIY. If you have someone in your group that's really good at copywriting, see if they'll go along with this and help you out with it, at least getting the site built initially. Some SEO strategies, keywords and where to find them. So let's look at some of these tools that we've got. One is Mangools. It's a pretty cool tool that I saw demonstrated, and it's even got this little extension, an SEO extension up here. So you can see the metrics, the backlinks, the on-page SEO. So it's this is the tool here. You can use it. Has a keyword search, so you can explore the keyword finder. So if maybe your site is selling leather boots, it'll help you find keywords related to leather boots. And oh, I didn't log in. It wants you to create an account. But anyway, that's how the tool works, basically. It's a very cool tool that you can explore. You can have a free membership. You're just limited to the amount of things you can use, of course, and then they have a paid membership. Google Keyword Planner is linked to Google Analytics, and that tool is here. This is a very cool tool that is free. You have to create an account, and it's created to Google AdWords, so that's kind of where it's geared, but you can use it to search for keywords. So if you do this, try it. So leather boots, and so it will show you the keywords related to leather boots. And the cool thing is this little tool will show you, like, leather boots, that particular keyword or key phrase, keyword, key phrase is the same thing, is pretty competitive, and that means you're going to have a hard time ranking for that one. So, you know, if you don't rank for the term leather boots, don't get too bad. Don't get too worked up about it. Zappos kind of has that one wrapped up. But as you go down the list, I scrolled too fast. As you go down, there's a lot that are pretty competitive in the leather boots space. But as you go down and work through these pages here at the bottom, it'll show you, okay, wide calf fitting boots. That particular phrase is a little less competitive. So this is just a nice tool you can use to search for some keywords, some good keywords to use as you're creating the content of your site. You can also broaden your search up here. So maybe add dress boots to your search. Okay, leather boots and dress boots are pretty high competition. So you get the idea of how this tool works. It's a very cool tool to use. And like I said, it is free. The next really great place to look for keywords is right in the search engine results. So let's come over here and go just to Google and look up leather boots. And you saw I clicked pretty fast there, but it also started to suggest leather boots for women. So it'll start suggesting those things like, oh, that's a phrase I might look for. So you look at what the results are. Here's an awesome place though to look for keywords is what else do people ask about? What are the best women's boots? So maybe best women's boots is a phrase you want to use, or best brand of boots, or real leather boots, or are Fry boots worth it? Yes, they are, by the way. Then come all the way down on the bottom of the search results and look at the other suggestions. Because all these things are built, what people ask for and this section down here are all built by the Google search engine based on what people search for. So there's just a lot of places to mine these good keywords. Oh, there was another thing I wanted to show you because I have this Mangles tool up here on my browser. It also puts these rankings here so you can see where you are. You know, so okay, so the Fry Company ranked number 6. But the cool thing is it puts this other little tool here. And we'll find other, if you're logged in, it'll find other keywords located at that. So that having that browser extension on there is pretty handy. Okay, so Nancy says I'm shopping, maybe. Look, do you have to have Google Ads set up to get the keyword tool? No, you do not. You do not. That's what it's geared toward, but you don't have to have that set up in order to use that tool. It's free to use. You just create an account, you know, link it to everything else Google because Google runs the world, as we know. Let's see. Let's scroll back and see if we've got.
Those were the only questions regarding the presentation. Other people are asking how you get a profile photo and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, unless people, if you guys have questions, make sure to put them in the chat. That will be easier to moderate than just,
yeah.
I mean, or wait until the very end. But
yeah. So, okay, that's how you get some good keywords that'll be really effective for your SEO. Photos and graphics. These can get really expensive, but they don't have to. So think about resources you might already have. Organization members, or someone who is a photographer or a graphic artist that's in your group or a part of your company, or maybe your sister-in-law or somebody who'd be willing to help you out with a couple things. Unsplash.com is a pretty good source. That is a paid source, but their costs are really reasonable. Another that I use a lot is Deposit Photos. And oh, right now on AppSumo, they have a special running where you can buy like a package of photo downloads from Deposit Photos, and the per photo cost is really low. So check that out. I don't know if you guys know AppSumo, appsumo.com. That's like you'll create a free membership, but you can get lost in all the software and specials they have on there. You can also create with canva.com. I know we've talked about Canva a little bit before. The cool thing about that is, especially for if you're creating posts for social media, is they have templates already set up that are the correct size for each type of social media. So they've got templates set up. They've got a lot of free resources set up, again, that's another freemium one where you can, free or paid, you can still get an awful lot done with the free membership on that one. Okay, hosting. Of course, we've already mentioned our friends at SiteGround, and honestly, I already had them in this presentation even before I found out they were going to help us out with the Zoom meeting, because I have several things hosted on SiteGround. I'm a big fan. But here's the thing: you need to pick a good host with variable package sizes and includes SSL. There are some hosts that are not bad, but they charge you extra for the basic SSL that you probably don't need to pay for. It's really tempting to skimp here, but if you are on a crowded server and shared hosting, your site will suffer from slowness or not being able to connect at all. So don't make it hard for visitors to find you or give you money. Get a good, decent host. Make sure there's a sandbox or staging site available. And of course, I'm always going to start with WordPress.com. It's really good hosting, and you can get free or low cost hosting with them right here. As we know, 36% of the web is built on WordPress. You've got themes available. You can build simply. I mean, this is their promo, so of course. But I wanted to get down here to show you guys. You can have a store on WordPress. Now, WordPress.com paid is where you get the store. But if you're just looking for a basic informational site, you can come down here. You don't even need the person. You can have a free getting started. So that's the one that the URL would look like something like sallygradle.wordpress.com. That's free, and that's where a lot of people start blogging. It's also a great place to build a great little informational site, depending on what you need. Then these are the other levels that are available. So I'm always going to promote WordPress.com. There is a large community, as we know, right around us, and honestly, what works on the .org side typically also works on the .com side. Some other hosting companies we like: SiteGround, we mentioned. Another one I've worked with is Green Geeks. They have a nice range of packages available, and even if you don't host with them, their tutorials are really good. They've got some really nice tutorials and help files and blog posts and things on their site. So that's Green Geeks, and I've always had a really easy time getting help with these guys when I've needed to. So let's see, do we have any other? Can you bring custom themes into WordPress.com? I don't think you can, but every theme in the repo is available. And you can do a lot of customization. How much freedom of design do you have? I would say you don't have the same freedom of design as if you were doing .org hosting on like a Green Geeks or SiteGround. But you have more freedom than you do with some of the other CMSs. And there is an awful lot available even within those guardrails.
There are a few other questions if you want to,
Yeah.
either I can read them or you can, looks like you're scrolling there anyway.
Yeah, I am scrolling. Let's see. Do you have to set up Google Ads? No, we answered that one.
Maybe I should read them because I wrote the ones that were actually
Yes,
questions.
go ahead.
Okay. Kathy has asked about the accuracy of SEO tools. Do you know any research on how accurate they may be?
SEO is a moving target always. Some of the ones we mentioned, like Mangles, each one has its own database and its own algorithms that it's using. So it's not a bad idea to try a couple different ones. Another one we talked about was SEMrush. Not sure what this is about. I'm under attack apparently. What? I don't know. It was checking. So they have tools for searching keywords and everything like that. So I wouldn't say there's any one best tool. Yoast, of course, is one that is very popular in the WordPress space. I wouldn't say any one is more accurate than another. It's what's more accurate for the kinds of things you need to do. SEO is a very big, deep area, and I think we should get an expert in SEO to speak on that next.
Probably a good idea.
That'd be the next thing. So who wants to do that? Sign up now. What's the next question?
Does SiteGround have a sandbox?
Yes, I believe they do.
Do they? If you have the small package?
If you have the smallest one, I don't think they do.
Yeah,
if you have the medium one, they do. Yeah. The smallest one is a very small package, and I've had a couple of folks, I can't find it real quick here. I've had a couple of folks start out with that one, and they've had to move to the medium pretty quickly. So you've got they have an introductory price. Most hosting companies do have an introductory price, and then the year after that, it goes up to what it really should be. So just be prepared for that. What's the next question?
I think those are all the questions, and there's just conversation about recommendations of photos, platforms, and whatnot.
Oh, there are also always, I always like to see what other photo platforms and things people use. Pixabay, oh yeah, that's a good one. Pexels, yeah, I've used that one too. Yep, okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about is email. Make sure you are reachable. Even if you don't have a phone number for your group, you need to have at least one email. It's best practice to separate your email from your hosting, but that is an extra cost, and so you'll have to think about that. I do not believe WordPress.com offers email hosting as well, but most other website hosts do. If you are going to separate it, you can go with Gmail, which they've raised their prices again, so it's getting a little pricey, especially if you need to have 2 or 3 email addresses. Another option, if you already have Office 365 or Zoho Mail, and there are a few other email hosting companies, but if you're going with the WordPress.org and self-hosting, I know SiteGround and GreenGeeks both offer email hosting as well. Have at least one account with your website address, info@, admin@, or something like that. This is a really hard one, especially for nonprofits that have been doing it for a while. And, you know, Joan always handles all the emails right on her emails. It is best that no one is using their personal email address for a lot of reasons. Confidentiality, professionalism, and succession. What happens when Joan decides she doesn't want to do it anymore and everything's on her computer? That's a problem. So it's always best to separate your personal email from your whatever your business or your organization is. I know a lot of us use Gmail and just have it all filter in to your personal Gmail, and that's okay, but just make sure that the address that I'm writing to you is info@sallyswebsite.com, not Sally's Gmail account. Okay, now it's time to pick a theme. Ooh, shiny. Where can you find themes? WordPress repository. They are modern, they are vetted, and again, it's WordPress and open source, so they're free to use and free to extend. You can do a search based on types of sites or other things you're wanting to know about. So let's look at here, WordPress themes. Of course, they're gonna promote their top 3 ones right here. This is the latest one that came out with the 5.0, I think it was 5.0. Anyway, that's the newest one. And there are lots and lots of others in here. You can, if you want certain features of the theme, you can use the feature picker here. If you're looking for maybe a retail. Oh, look at that. There are lots of themes that are kind of geared toward retail. That means they're probably set up to work very well with WooCommerce. There is also a basic WooCommerce theme if you want to start with that one too. Another place you can get themes is hosting companies. A lot of times when you do your setup of WordPress, it'll give you a few free themes. I don't know how well those are maintained. So I might be a little leery of that one. If I'm going to use a free one, I'm going to take one out of the WordPress repo because it's been checked and they're maintained. And when themes are no longer maintained, you get notified of that. But they are installed with your initial WordPress install. And again, free to use and extend. So you can do that. The other option is a premium theme. You can purchase a premium theme. I know that there are several people in this group that specialize in working with Divi. It's very popular. It has a very large community around it, but there is a cost. And you will incur annual renewal to make sure you get your continued updates and supports. And sometimes some of those premium themes will include some functionalities that you don't need, but it's very hard to disengage those. So that's another one of those things you'll just have to weigh out. If you or your team don't have time to do any kind of customization and you'd like an out-of-the-box easy solution, this is a good one. So let's build this thing finally. Oh my gosh, it's taken forever, hasn't it? Building your theme, build in a local dev or a sandbox. This is where you can move fast and break things. So you got to really think about the real time investment. Since you're not paying a lot for these, you're paying in time. So you need to think about the time investment of building, whether you or someone else in the group is doing it, and training other people how to do it. What is the timeline? Of course, everybody wants their site built up right away. They think you can get it up in a couple of days. We all know it takes some time to do that. So is your timeline realistic? Or are you going to have to say to your group, no, it's going to take a couple of weeks to get this done, or whatever you determine it is, depending on how complex the site is. The other thing, oops, I went back too far. Have you been provided all of the content and the assets? So are you going to have to wait for someone to finish writing the about page or finish writing the product descriptions, or getting you the pictures of the products, or getting you that big splashy graphic you want to use on your hero image? Those are the things that'll kind of bog down a project, but just know that going in, that sometimes that happens. So we talked a little bit about SEO, how to get found, but you can also promote your site. Here are some first considerations. What are the best channels? Where is your audience, and where do you want to interact with them? Is your audience primarily on Facebook, or is it primarily on Twitter, or both, or some of each? Is it really better to have your business group interact on LinkedIn? So you just have to think about what is the place where your audience lives, so you reach them there. You need to think about who's going to be doing this, because again, this is an investment of time to get this done. Now you can hire agencies to do that, and you will pay dearly because it's a lot of work, and you'll see why you pay them so much to do it, because you're paying for their time and their expertise. So you have to make sure that whoever your social media manager person is, whether it's you or your brother-in-law because it's his site, or someone in that belongs to the church that you're doing the site for, whatever it is, make sure they have the time and the knowledge, or they're willing to learn it. And be consistent, like we've said, with everything else, because that's how you build trust with your audience. So if you normally tweet out a photo on Thursday mornings, make sure you always do it on Thursday mornings. Otherwise, your audience can't trust you to have that information out there. So social media channels, we know the big ones: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn. And this is where you have to think about, is Pinterest the best place? I don't know. Is it a car enthusiast group? Probably. One of the largest user groups of Pinterest in England is men who are car enthusiasts. So just think about where's your audience? What do you want to do? Are they going to share pictures of their car? Of course they are. So probably Pinterest and Instagram are great places. You might have some community building on Facebook with that as well. So that's one of those places where you look to your members and look to your audience and see where do they hang out. Email marketing. Email is still a very effective marketing tool. Whether it's a newsletter subscription, a blog subscription, or drip marketing, especially in the e-commerce space, it's very, very effective still. So there's some email marketing services. I'm sure many of us are familiar with MailChimp. They, as a company, are pivoting toward being more of a provider of your full marketing package. So it's not quite the cheap solution it used to be, but it is still very effective, and you can still get an awful lot done for free or very little cost on MailChimp. GoDaddy marketing. You do not have to have a website hosted at GoDaddy in order to use their marketing tools. And it's a service similar to MailChimp. You can do newsletter marketing or other email marketing and things like that. Another tool that's really popular is ActiveCampaign. I know some people in our group have used ActiveCampaign. They're built here in Chicago, and so that's nice to use a local company to us. And they do the opt-in marketing, drip marketing, and all that kind of thing too. Collecting subscriptions. How do you get people to sign up? Well, there are plugins and code snippets from the services we mentioned, like ActiveCampaign and GoDaddy marketing and MailChimp. A lot of the form building, like Contact Form 7 or WP Forms, those form plugins also have extensions for the larger marketing companies. That's another thing, another place where you're going to invest some time to research which ones will work best for you. Rob, how do you have a registration mechanism to allow the blog content on your site? Is it done via a plugin? I'm not sure what the question is. Is it what
Is
I
it
just
talking
answered?
about
where you-
role? Like, are they talking about like user roles?
I'm sorry. I was thinking like if you had like something that has some content that might be of interest, but you wanted to kind of nudge someone to subscribe to you to give you an email, and in exchange you give them access to content that might be a little bit better than just something that's free, but something that kind of nudge them to give you an email, if that makes sense. And
Oh yeah, there are
how do you
plugins to do that, for sure.
partition, how do you wall it off so that not anyone can just come in and see it unless they give you their email? I was just wondering if there was a easy solution. Thanks.
Oh yeah. There are plugins that will do that for you. You can either do it that way, or if you have a membership on your site, you could have a free membership on your site so that people can sign up. So, it's kind of like the, your first taste is free. So you give a little bit of information, but then say, hey, if you'd like more information, sign up here, and you can just collect their address and maybe their first name or something like that. So a free membership is a really good way to handle that. There are other plugins that, of course, I can't think of off the top of my head right now that will also do that for you. It's for collecting and building your email list.
Great, thank you.
And there was one more
Sure.
question higher up. Is it possible to perform keyword research and write SEO-based content for news websites?
Sure.
I think that's a perfect site for it.
Yeah, that would be the perfect solution for it. Actually, that would be. So if especially if your news site is in a particular subject area, so that's where you would maybe it's I don't know, astrophysics. So you can start looking at your keywords around astrophysics. So you write your articles or your promos with those keywords. Don't be spammy, but yeah.
And then there's a new one there on the bottom. Is there a good free scheduling plugin for a WordPress.com site? I'd like visitors to be able to schedule a call with me by selecting a time on a schedule on my site.
I use Calendly. I use a paid one because I do different types of meetings and trainings and people like that and things like that. But there is a free level of Calendly that'll let you create let me back up. They allow you to create different types of meetings with maybe different lengths of time. On the paid version, on the free version, you can create one type of meeting. Yeah. Oh, good. Lisa posted that. Yeah, Calendly.com is one I use. I know there are a couple of others. If anybody else has a good one, throw it in the chat. Okay, so we're almost to the end here. I want to show a couple of things that I'm pretty sure we've talked about in meetings before, some kind of task runner things, Zapier and Buffer. Zapier, and it's pronounced Zapier. The owner said it's Zapier because it makes you happier, but it helps you automate some things. One way that I've used this with a lot of success, and I just have the free version, is as soon as I publish a blog post, I have it scheduled so that is the trigger, which is this part down here. So I have posted a blog post, and the action is that a link and a little description of that gets sent out to Buffer, which will then schedule posting to Facebook and to Twitter, and you can also do it with Instagram. There are a lot of integrations that you can do for free. Another one they've got over here is Trello. I have Trello and my Todoist scheduling, personal scheduling set up to talk to each other. Again, I have the free version. You get up to 5 what they call zaps. 5 of them for free. They only do one step, so it's like okay, I did the blog post, so send it out to Buffer, and that's it. So that's the only things it does. But take some time and look through all the possibilities of things you can do. So and they have a little demo here. It will change your life. I promise. So, whoops, it always skips down to get you to sign up. So here's some featured zaps, like you've posted your newsletter in MailChimp. And so send a notification out by email or send it out to your Facebook that, hey, we have a new newsletter posted. So it's really useful for things like that. And then I also mentioned Buffer, which will help you schedule your content. Again, I have the free version that I use. I have it set up to do posts to Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. It starts with the pro, but you can do the 14-day trial and then just keep the free version. So what you do is you create a post and you schedule when you want it to go, and off it goes. And the really nice thing about that is it helps keep you consistent. So you can create some of your social media posts ahead of time, like a month ahead of time, and schedule them out so that it's always posting on Thursday morning, the way you want it to be. So let's see, any other questions? Oh, somebody loves Zapier. Yeah, Stacy loves Zapier.
I do, but it is so frustrating that you can only do like one action on like one Trello board into one specific project in my OmniFocus or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I just wanted to do like 3 things. I'm sure I could pay for it, but.
Yeah, some things you just kind of have to pony up and pay for. But when you're at the very beginning of your project, this is one of those things, okay, we're going to decide these 3 things are the most important ones, and we'll do that. And then when we have some money coming in, we can buy that full version of Zapier. Paul, to everyone, WordPress.com, Calendly would be linked on a page for hosted or .org. It can be an inline link, pop-up text, or pop-up widget with their help. Oh, cool. And then Rob says there's no way to embed a schedule in WordPress.com page. Not with Calendly. There may be others. I just haven't tried it.
Acuity scheduling, like Jen mentioned, you can embed onto a page.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. I assume that's a free one. I don't know. I have a client who uses it. I just never asked if they paid for it.
Oh, look, nice link for Zapier and Calendly. Excellent. Thank you. Dhruv, am I pronouncing that right? Oh, good. I got right. So that is the end of our very high level look at some tools you can use for low cost or no cost to get a site up and running for almost no budget. Thanks very much for your attention. And anybody else have any questions? I guess we can open it up. 7:05, so we were about 45 minutes. That's all right.
Great job, Sally. Sorry we couldn't do this at WordCamp Chicago.
Well, next time.
I love how the other WordCamps are doing online versions, although I missed the ones this weekend by like 30 minutes.
Oh,
of course. Like, I forgot.
I wasn't sure San Diego did or not, because they were supposed to be this. Oh no, they're the same weekend as Chicago was supposed to be, so maybe they will.
Yeah, a few have outright canceled too. Grand Rapids canceled completely rather than just doing an online one, which is a bummer.
Yeah, the good thing is there is also WordPress TV, which has presentations from all kinds of WordCamps all over the place. So if you really need a little WordCamp fix and want to get some good information from some of the best in the business, hit that up for sure.
Is there a good calendar to use to post events on your website? Yes, there is.
Yes, there is. I use the events calendar.
Does anyone not use that? Like, is there one that someone like chooses not to use the events calendar and uses something else? I'm curious.
I looked at Sugar Calendar a while back, but that was just because I was going to be developing some add-ons for it. And it's fine. It's just Events Calendar has so many add-ons out there, free and paid, that there's really like nothing you can't do with Events Calendar.
Yeah, you can sell tickets through Events Calendar. You can do a lot.
What that mean?
Like doing, are you going to do e-commerce not on Woo? It's kind of, same thing.
Yeah. Woo says you really shouldn't do tickets through it, but you can do it. I think it's just a little cumbersome. This is the events.
Don't they sell a ticketing add-on? Wait, are you talking about Woo says Woo you wouldn't be best off doing tickets with
That was
Woo?
the last thing I heard the last time I was looking at a ticket selling thing, because then it came down between Events Calendar or doing like an Eventbrite. Eventbrite tends to be a little bit expensive in their fees, I think. So we did Events Calendar, but they may have added a ticketing thing now. I know they've done a lot of.
I think they even have one that works with the event calendar. I think when I was doing ticketing research, you could either get Modern Tribes or WooCommerce, but both process through WooCommerce anyway. So I don't know if it matters which way you go.
Yeah, it was kind of 601.
Yeah.
But like Mike said, there's so many extensions and things available for the events calendar. I think they're just further ahead than Woo is on that. I do know, now that I think about it, Events Manager is another one. And I know some people, it's better if you spell it right. Come on. This one, Events Manager. I worked on a site recently where they chose that one because there was one functionality that one had that the events calendar didn't have. But that's another one that's really popular. I mean, 100,000 active installs. We've talked a little bit before about how to pick your plugins. Lots of active installs. It's current. It was just updated 2 weeks ago. Ratings, you kind of have to look at the ratings carefully. Sometimes it's, there'll be a big swath of negative ratings. It's like anything else. You have to read them, see what people are complaining about. Are they complaining because it doesn't do what they want it to do, or is it complaining because it promises something that doesn't work? So we've got some other good suggestions here in the chat.
Offer a little bit of caution right now about these ticketing groups.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay, good. I just couldn't tell.
Sorry.
So I did 2 events recently for tickets, and it was just before we all had to shelter at home and all that stuff. I'm still waiting on 2 payments for brown paper tickets, and one of the checks had already come to us and was stopped. And my understanding is Eventbrite is also having cash flow issues. It's like, when I've told people that I know are doing things in the short term, I'd say get them to give you the money directly at this point, just to avoid any.
Oh, but that's a problem like with the ticket seller.
Let's put it this way. All these people started, wanted, oh, I'm canceling the event. Oh, please. And they all, went back to brown paper tickets for refunds.
Yeah.
And now there's a cash flow issue. And I'm waiting for $4,000.
Yeah.
Which I'm not too thrilled about.
Yeah.
I hope it's a short-term problem, and I hope they don't go bankrupt and all sorts of things. But this is largely unknown. You go to their websites, and it's like business is normal, and it's not quite.
Yeah.
But it's not quite normal for any of us. So that they're affected is not a total surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, I got hit with I had 2 conferences I was going to attend this spring, and I had Airbnbs lined up for both of them. One of them, and I knew this going in, I agreed to it, that, you know, if I had to cancel, that I wouldn't get a full refund. So I said, okay, you know, I'm not going to argue with that because that's what I agreed to. And the other one, I did get a full refund, but I felt kind of bad. I'm like, oh, that guy should have protected himself a little better.
Well, some of these, after a while, they began to realize with all this money going out, they're like, wait, maybe you could tell people you're rescheduling. You don't have to have your back right now. But by that time, you know, the damage was done.
There was one we were going to go to in Austin, and they postponed the 2020 event until 2021. They didn't cancel it, so they're not doing any refunds. But if you have an annual event and you postpone it until the next year, it's canceled. You should refund the tickets. But you got some hot water for that.
Yeah. Or you've also pre-sold a year ahead of time.
Yeah, but you've already bought for next year.
Right, that's what they had the tickets for next year, but everybody's like, well, you know, you cancel this year's, you should do the next year's one. But yeah, it was a mess.
They already spent money.
Wimbledon canceled. The French Open did not. And the difference between those 2 situations was French Open did not, so they have to continue. Yeah. So that's, I'm learning a lot about strategy on these situations.
I think we all are.
Yes. Yeah, when it's too late, right?
There's been a learning curve like this, you know, straight up.
And painful too.
Yeah. So does anybody else have any favorite tools they want to share that are great for cheap or free?
I'll just add one. I've been playing around with Rank Math versus Yoast for a while now, and I'm starting to new sites use Rank Math instead of Yoast.
I was just looking at that today.
Wow.
For a couple sites, I was experimenting with a plugin called Rank Math.
Okay.
And it basically is like what Yoast is. And, you know, for new sites now, I'm kind of shifting to that one a little bit.
Why?
And that's a free one. I just like the admin. It doesn't have, the admin's a little easier and it does a couple things differently. It doesn't seem as heavy as Yoast.
Doesn't give you 5 million pop-ups that you have to close like all over the interface. Not pop-ups, but like inline ads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yoast is kind of soured in my taste. I feel too like with the block builders, like I use Beaver Builder, and it'll say, well, your H1 doesn't have your key phrase, and my H1 does have a key phrase. It just doesn't, it's not seeing it for some reason. Or you don't, it'll say you don't have an H1 or you have too many H1s, and I go look and I'm like, no, I only have one. I just feel like it's not really working accurately with the block builders.
Well, somebody had suggested on Slack that Yoast had all these, you know, little classes, and I took a bunch of them. I learned a lot more about SEO. Now a lot of stuff that is mentioned makes sense to me.
That's good.
Yeah, they are a good resource. Even if you're not using their tool, they're a good resource for learning how to do SEO. You know, as are, you know, the other ones that we mentioned. They are a lot. There's just a richness if you want to go through all the blog posts and all the tutorials and things like that. If you take the time to do that, you can really get educated on it and get some good tips and some good tools.
Another
I have a hard
good
time
one,
balancing my time. You know, do I learn more HTML5 or do I learn SEO?
if you're looking to learn some of the SEO stuff, Moz Academy made some of their material free for the shutdown. Yeah, just look at Moz Academy and you'll find it. That they have some really good courses that are expensive courses.
So it looks like it's academy.moz.com. And of course now it's taking forever to come up. Somebody in my house must be playing video games.
Oh, yeah. That looks really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are some
Like
really
it could need some line length clipping.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Or
Sure,
maybe
show it
a
to the
little bigger
designer, yeah.
font. This is my, I don't know if it makes a difference. This is my bigger monitor I'm looking at, so it's wider.
Yeah, it looks perfect on mine.
Well,
Yeah. And I'd go with a little bigger font personally because I hate squinting at things.
let's do design critiques. This is fun.
I know. It's like
I'm
we
totally
can't turn it
joking,
off.
everyone else. No, that'll be a whole nother meetup.
We can't help
Yeah.
ourselves.
This is Tony J. and Greco. I have a tip that some of you might want to try, especially if you have quite a few WordPress sites. I've experimented with a plugin called Easy. Hold on, let me check it here real quick. The name Easy Updates Manager. It's a free plugin, and you can configure it to automatically update other plugins in a site when updates come through. It works.
Easy updates.
It can save you. Yeah, it's called Easy Updates Manager, and it doesn't work well on all the updates, but just the general ones like Yoast and theme updates. You know, if you have a free, yeah, that's it right there. If you have a free theme or you don't have a real complex site, it works quite well at maintaining things, so you're not going in there every week. I don't know about you guys, but I get emails all the time on updates to my sites that are, you know, there's new versions of things out there.
Yeah.
And this stops about 90% of them. So just thought just send it out there and say it's a nice tool. And you can configure it by plugin, whether you want it to automatically update that plugin or not.
Can you scroll down a little bit, Sally?
Sure.
I just wanted to see the free features.
We're all about the
you.
free features today.
Yeah. So is this like? Go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say another one like that is Manage WP is another
That's
one
what I was
that
just gonna
GoDaddy bought.
That's
Yeah.
what I use. That's what I use. And I mean, that's a service I sell, is to maintain this stuff. And you can just one click update everything for all sites. Then the thing is, and it's not as bad now as it used to be, but when you if you just let it automatically do those updates, sometimes they just don't play nicely together.
Yeah.
And then you get a call from a client like, why is my form missing, or something like that. So I like to kind of do it myself.
Yeah, that one's, it's free, but then there's paid updates. Like you could do backups. You could do a safe update where it does the update and checks and roll back. And, you know, there's some ways to do that. But I've got, you know, managing probably about a dozen sites right now. Yeah, you need some way to do that easily rather than going through each one.
Yeah.
Oh, Drew mentioned Media Cleaner. I've used that one. I've used that one a lot. Is this the one from, I think it's Meow? Yeah, this is the one. This is the one I've used. Media Cleaner and Media File Renamer. Both good ones. I've used the free and the paid version of this one. So it helps clean up your media library and your database. Your database is getting really heavy from old, you know, I don't know if you've ever noticed, sometimes you delete media, but it's not really deleted. It's still out in the database, and your database gets really huge after a while, depending on what your site is. And especially if it's like an e-commerce site where you have a lot of product photos, maybe you remove that product and you think you've taken down the photos, but not so much.
So, you know, I've been interested in this one, but was concerned, like, what if it deleted stuff I am still using? Is it pretty accurate?
It lets you check it. It goes through and it looks at the list and it says, okay, this is what we found that does not appear to be connected to anything. And you can hand select off of that. No, keep that, delete all these. Yeah.
Cool. I like their Retina, what is it? WP Retina 2X something, made from Meow.
Yeah.
Like it does responsive images or source set or something?
Yeah, if you can put in the large images, and then it'll take what you have and make all the different sizes you need. and keeps them retina ready so that you're always just serving up the exact accurate, well, mostly exact, not exact, most
Are
accurate.
you serving retina images?
Yeah, it's adjusting for it.
Okay. I'm
Here we go.
asking that like for
Retina
real. Like,
2X.
I don't know if that's a thing people do these days. It's been so long. I had a client today ask me like, what size should I make the image? I'm like, oh, I have no idea. Like I made it at 150 DPI, but I'm like, this is probably problematic. But some of these images kind of look gross if I keep it at 72 and everyone's on retina. But then you worry about bandwidth and yeah.
Well, it works really well in conjunction with Smush, which I had stopped using for a while, but it really does work well together. So that's my latest combo that I'm really liking.
Super.
Yeah, so you can generate, when you upload your images and they've been smushed, and then you can click the generate button, and then it makes all the possible sizes based on it. Like it won't make anything bigger than what you uploaded, but it can make everything smaller.
Very cool.
Sort of related to performance and totally unrelated to WordPress. But if anyone likes JavaScript out there, Tim Kedlick posted a post on his blog today about JavaScript library performance and like the trend over time. And it was really a good read. I will post the link if you haven't seen it. Like in a few minutes, so feel free
In a few minutes, okay.
Yeah, no,
we're all watching the chat.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, it's so quiet.
Oh.
Thanks for that.
Drew just posted a link, shopping. It's now free to sell on Google. That's interesting.
I wonder if that's just for now. During these uncertain times.
These uncertain times. Oh, can we kill that
phrase?
Right?
I wish these could be links. Chat, Zoom. Where do you file design requests?
Yeah, there we go.
Surprised they're not.
I don't know if it does record chat, but you can save the chat history if it doesn't.
Yeah.
Can.
Little dots. Yeah, save chat.
Yeah,
Save
we have it
chat,
set.
yeah.
You can save the chat. You can turn that off, but we have that on because you might want to save it.
Cool. Thank you.
This has got good
Should be
stuff
at
in it.
least.
Again, thank you, SiteGround.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons. They're one of my favorites.
Yep.
So here's the JavaScript article, and then
I don't
and here's the
recommend
one
skimming it
about
right now because
on Google.
It's long.
Yeah. So if you want to look at so that when you put it back in again, you're like, oh yeah, that was the side I was looking for. I don't know about you all, but I'm very visual that way. Like, this is what I was looking for. What was that logo? That's what I'm looking for.
I do that with groceries. If they change the label, I can't find my stuff. It's got to have a look. I'm like, it was purple and it had blue lettering.
Yes. Yes. We'll need to take a page out of Disney. You can always recognize Disney every time.
Yep.
Oh, and this I will forever now call mangoals because mangoals. How do you pronounce it? It looks like mangoals, like hashtag mangoals.
It does.
It
does. It's got this whole mango thing going on.
Ghouls. Why
I can
ghouls?
sign in, then I can.
Tools.
I don't know. Who knows? See if I can remember my login here.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to use this one. Try it.
It's a fun tool. It really is, and this little extension up here is pretty nice. So if we go, let's look at SiteGround, and we use this little tool up here. I need to close some of these other windows. Maybe got too much open. There we go. Oh, that's not what I want. Anyway. Motorhead Man goes, oh, my plan is expired, so I can't use it anymore. But because I'm cheap and I won't pay for it.
Perfect timing.
Awesome. Awesome. But these are the tools. It has a keyword finder, the SERP checker, SERP watcher. So if we go to the keyword finder tool. So it's like everything's a mango smoothie.
Hungry.
I am too. Let's look up peanut butter. Match. Oh, I'm searching by domain. That's why.
That'd be a great domain.
That would be a great domain. I heard about a really great one. Oh. So if you have the plan, this is where it shows you. It'll shows the pay-per-clicks, the keyword density. It gives you a lot of good information here. Oh, but the URL, I heard my son sent it to me. It's where he gets his haircut. He lives in North Carolina. It's where he gets his haircut. Their URL is guaranteed shorter hair. I just thought that was brilliant.
That is brilliant. I
They
love
don't do extensions. I hope.
No, because it's a men's barbershop. Yeah, guaranteedshorterhair.com. Honest to God, it's awesome.
that's good. Even the trick.
Old line from the Bruce Brothers, curl up and die.
Yeah.
I bet you somebody has it.
Probably.
Then with the trick with these things here, with back to the keywords and stuff, is just like balancing, you know, the traffic, you know, all these things, the cost per click and whatever, just to figure out like what's phrase to go for. I always have trouble making those decisions.
Yeah, and it in some industries there are words that are not real competitive. You think, wow, why is that one not real competitive? But it's one that then you can leverage in your.
But then if it's, then I'm like, well, if it's not competitive, maybe, you know, well, I guess then you can look at how many people are clicking on it. Or
Well, if it's not competitive, that means it'll be easier to
be found by
rank on it.
But what if nobody's using it?
Yeah, it's a balance, and you know, SEO is always a moving target, and it's its own animal that changes all the time. You know, 5 years ago we were all keyword packing, and now they're saying, oh no, don't do that. We will ding you for that. Somebody in a Slack group I'm in posted an article that said it was some kind of study that was done. I think it was kind of a small sample, but it was about, is it important to have H1s? You know, have your div designated as an H1, or is it okay to just do it all with CSS and the appearance? And what they found was that things that were designated as an H1 and things that were maybe a taller font and bold, both got counted as an H1.
What?
But then the question was, yeah, but the question then was, okay, but what does that do for accessibility?
Oh, yeah.
Because,
so
yeah,
why not
because
put the correct document structure?
exactly, because the documents that you know, screen readers and things depend on that document structure. So I don't know. I was kind of like, you know, yeah, that was kind of what I landed on it.
At least it's not doing better. That would scare me if just the big one with CSS.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny because I work with Divi, and for a lot of the header full width sliders that customers still love, is that the wording, the main title text is listed as like an H4 native to Divi. So I always end up, so I always end up having to do a display none and bury an H1 tag within the content, like near the top of the page, just to like have an H1 tag at the near the top. And just do
That's
it
fine.
inline, yeah, an inline, style, the display none. So the actual visual look of the page is right, but with screen readers, it'll still pick up the H1 tag. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I've been trying to encourage folks, if they want to have that big splashy slideshow or whatever, that's great, but let's just use it as decoration, not
Yeah.
as,
I try.
Oh, Stacy's office assistant is here. Good.
Yeah, she's here.
Oh my gosh, she has just as much energy.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. She's a clown.
Oh, that's what you call a pop-up.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So peanut butter, high competition.
The keyword peanut butter?
But peanut butter and jelly is low. Why? See, I think that's weird.
I know.
You know what the most expensive keywords are for?
What?
Insurance.
Really?
Insurance can be like dollars and dollars per click.
Really? Didn't know that.
At least a while ago it was. I don't know what it is now.
I'm looking
That
for
is
more.
interesting. So what would be a good one? Let's test that out. Let's check that out.
Yeah, like
There's a
what?
good post by Basecamp. I can't remember if Jason or DHH posted it about people using other brands' names in their paid listing to get ranked higher than the brand itself. And he went on a rant, which I mean, I totally get.
Yeah.
But it's like hard to be fair and honest and competitive in that world when you're allowed to purchase other people's brand.
Actually, that is that brings up a good point. One of the things you can do over here on the side is you're refining your keywords. Is you can say, no, don't include brands. So, don't include Geico or State Farm or Progressive.
Yeah, look at this.
Don't include any of those in the research or in the results. That changes what happens. Wow, 52.
Oh, I didn't.
58 was the top. Look at that. Holy moly. For homeowners insurance. Wow.
Home insurance quote, 59. Big money at stake there, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. So if you have don't include any brands, that's the only result you get. There are other refinements here on the side. Product name, properties. So say always include, let's just look at homeowners insurance for condos. What kind of words come up with that? So this is a very cool tool provided by Google for free. Of course, I want you to do ads with them, but they also, a lot of people complain about how much power Google has, but they want the internet to be good and useful. So, they provide tools to help you make it good and useful. Pat, why are we looking at what is that, your coffee mug? You're still muted.
It means you're coming back.
I have no idea what you're seeing here.
No,
Well,
Because it doesn't show me what I look like. It just got switching cameras around. So can you see me now?
Yes,
now we can. If you stay that way, there you go. No, now you're just a dot.
Now you're far away.
That's perfect, right in the center.
I have no idea what you're seeing.
Good thing you're dressed.
Yeah.
You're a very handsome guy. That's what we're seeing.
Oh, I'm only dressed on the top up.
There you go.
You want me to show
We all have to stay in our seats.
Well, I thought I saw some conversation in our Slack about what we were going to do for the next meetup. I either can't find it or I completely made that up and I thought that happened. I don't see a topic there. Does anyone know what we are doing for the next meetup, or have we not announced that yet? Feels like something I should know.
I don't think it's been announced.
Don't think it's
yet.
not scheduled the topic.
Okay.
I don't think so. One nice thing though is with using this, the meeting ID and password should stay the same since we're using the same Zoom for all the meetups going forward. So the meetup ID and the password should stay the same.
I didn't type in the password. It didn't ask me for it.
If you follow the link that Claire sent out, it probably won't ask you for the password. It has it embedded and coded in there. But if not, then you'll need the password. The
We
link
didn't get
you
Zoom
send us-
bombed. How disappointing.
No.
Blocked it. It's blocked.
Were you looking forward to that?
You guys, I have to say that happened to me before I knew. I was, what was I doing? I was meeting with a couple friends. We were doing like a girls' night wine thing. And my friends heard a man's voice come in. I didn't hear it, and I was the one running it. And he was saying something to them about, I wanted to check up on you or something, and that was it. I'm like, that was before I heard of Zoom bombing. I'm like, holy shnikes. Now I lock.
That sounds terrifying.
I know, it's like, learn, I'm like, that's creepy. Lock
Boy,
your
that in
Than
mind.
anything else.
Feel free to post any topics that you either would like to speak about to our group, or if you want to learn more about anything. For all the first timers that are here, I think we might have some new people. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you'll come back, especially when we're like actually in person again. But also, if you want to be added, if you haven't been yet, to our Slack channel, send us a message on the meetup.com board and we can get you set up there. I'm just doing some housekeeping before my children inevitably pull me out. So anything else? Anyone? I mean,
when we meet in person, typically we'll have a half hour or so of kind of networking and
before and after.
Yeah, before and after, just kind of chatting, and you know, if you have a particular problem, something that you'd like the hive mind to chime in on, you know, we do that, and we do more in-depth introductions and things like that, so we get a better idea of who's in our group and what they do, and you know, at the WordPress, it's all about the community. Say again?
Except for December.
Except for December, that's just
a
part.
We always get first timers.
Yeah.
Quick question: where did you say we should put suggestions for the next topic?
Anywhere. You can post them here in this chat. We can grab them before they all shut down. You can post them on the meetup.com board on our Naperville page. Or you can, if you're part of the Slack room, you can post them there. I'll take them.
Oh, somebody suggested UX. That would be good. That's
UX,
always
yeah.
good to revisit.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It changes a lot, I think.
You know, something we haven't done in a long time is somebody wants to do a survey of websites and said why this is good, why this is bad.
I did
more about design than UX.
I did something similar to that, where it's like design for the non-designer. We kind of took a look at different websites. Was that it?
It could have been. I like that.
You praised it.
Oh, did I?
You said you liked it.
Must have been a good one.
I don't remember praising it, but that sounds like something I would say.
Whatever. You said it was good. But that's kind of what it was. Stacy, you were there too, I think. It was,
yeah.
We didn't have that many people there, but That's basically what it was.
Quick and easy tips.
What looks good, what doesn't, and why.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are rules. You gotta know the rules before you break them.
Agreed.
I have I have one question. Stacy has been talking about like local development. So actually, what I use, the tools that I'm using before was WAM, but now I'm using like the local by Flywheel. So is there any suggestion? Because these things, sometimes if I'm working on my desktop, it's working fine, but for low-end computer, it really, it's really heavy. So if there's any suggestion that you have better tools that for developing WordPress themes, plugins now.
What computer do you have?
It's I don't have a problem in my computer. I have an i5 core, Intel Core i5 computer, so it doesn't have problem. But I have a laptop which is like dual core only. So using local by Flywheel really kick the resource out, I think.
Yeah, I used to use MAMP, but Windows. Yeah, Mike, what would you suggest for Windows?
I was just gonna say, local has that new. I don't know if you have the latest version, but they released this local by Lightning version, which is a newer one that under the hood it changed the way it did completely. Because I used to have the same issue with local, it was really slow. But now, like if you try the current version out, it's good. Laragon, is that what it's called? Laragon. Yeah.
Also, I only run one local site at a time. That helps instead of having them all.
Laragon is a real fast one, but it doesn't have a lot of the nice things in there for like just spinning up a new site and using templates and stuff. It takes a little longer to set the sites up, but they will run pretty fast.
Not heard that one.
Oh,
I use desktop server. They've come out with another product called WP Site Sync. So you can sync and I think I talked about it a while ago. You can sync between your sandbox and your live site, so you keep them together. If you can afford the higher end hosting, Pantheon and WP Engine both have the dev, test, and live model, so you can move fast and break things in the dev. You can test and then push it out live, so that your live site is always the good functional one, and you can test things in the other levels.
Sally, what was the first one you mentioned?
Pantheon.
Oh, I thought there was something before that.
Oh, WP Engine.
Site Sync.
Maybe not.
Oh, the local is desktop server.
That's what it was.
On serverpress.com is their website.
Thank you.
Sure, I like that one because you don't have to be online to do it. So when you're working in the hotel room and all you have is that terrible free Wi-Fi, which no one should ever use.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
Thanks for everyone for coming.
Yeah.
We'll post when the recording's available. We'll share that in the meetup group.
This was an awesome session, by the way. You guys did awesome. You guys are very talented.
Way to go, Sally.
Oh, thanks.
Hey, Sally.
Thanks, Sally.
Even though it's my
if WordCamp were going to be a thing, you'd see another version with even more practice in a month.
Yeah.
But
Bummer.
I think June is on the horizon for extension, so.
Say that again.
It's June. I think before the thing gets lifted up.
Yeah.
So you guys were talking about that face-to-face, right? So.
Yeah. I'm I would be surprised if even very much is happening in June, in general, across the whole nation, so.
I'll say that. But yeah, next month will definitely be online. We'll see after that, but it'll probably be late. We'll, you know, until it's clear, you know, we'll just keep doing them like these.
Well, Pritzker said today he's still thinking like mid-May, May 15th, the latest.
I've heard that before. I heard March and then April.
Keep pushing it
It just
out.
was like a little bit at a time, and then
You
Like
said
if you're working out. Okay, you finished your 50 sit-ups, now 10 more.
Yeah.
Now let's-
mid-May, you said like the peak is extended to that mid-May.
Yeah, that's when it's going to peak, but it's also kind of, it's peak, but it might be peak and plateau.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, which means, you know, that what we're doing is what is supposed to be happening. It's supposed to be keeping the numbers as low as possible, so.
If some of the other states are successful in their early open ups and they really don't start going backwards, then I think that'll accelerate some of the others as well.
Yeah, California is probably going to be one of those, amazingly.
California is weird. They managed to they didn't really close down all that soon, but they managed to keep from having a big curve up, and they should. Their population, there's the whole herd immunity theory going out there.
Yeah.
Order
Right.
So yeah.
WP Corona talk. Continue online.
No, we'll just have to see. It's like everything else. We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
A conversation like that will go viral.
All right, everyone. Take care.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Thank SiteGround for their generosity. We appreciate it very much.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, SiteGround.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sally.
We love you.